Over to you, Nico.
All right. So today's presentation is on SARA Title III, or EPCRA reporting for the year 2022. As I said before, my name is Nico Churchill, and I'm the SARA Title III coordinator here at the Virginia TEQ. So for everyone who's in the know at the moment, we have SARA Title III, or the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act, or EPCRA, was signed into law on October 17, 1986, as Title III of the Superfund Amendments and Reauthorization Act of 1986, better known as SARA. As I said before, it's also known as EPCRA, or the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act. SARA Title III was enacted after the 1984 Bhopal incident in India, where a methyl isocyanate gas release caused the deaths of over 2,500 people and tens of thousands of more to be injured. The purpose of EPCRA is to create a cooperative relationship among the government, businesses, and the public, and involving all of them in the effort to prevent, plan, and prepare for and manage chemical emergencies. So, in Virginia, the enforcement authority resides with the United States Environmental Protection Agency, for the EPCRA Act. Local emergency planning committees or local fire department authority may request additional information for LEPC planning purposes or on behalf of its citizens. So today's EPCRA reporting programs that we'll be covering today are sections 302, 304, 311, and 312. We will not be covering section 313 today, as this is the Toxic Chemical Release Inventory, or TRI, which is covered by a different part of DEQ. 302, 304, 311, and 312 cover emergency planning notification, emergency release notification, safety data sheet submission, and emergency and hazardous chemical inventory, or Tier 2 reports, respectively. Section 302, or the Emergency Planning Notification. A facility is required to send a one-time written notification to the VERC, or Virginia Emergency Response Commission, and its jurisdictional LEPC, if an extremely hazardous substance, or EHS, is present at any one time, and the amount is equal to or greater than the applicable threshold planning quantity, or TPQ. This federal regulation is covered in this section. TPQs for EHSs can be one of 1, 10, 100, 500, or 1,000 pounds. These can be found on the EPA's list of lists. Currently, there are 356 EHSs listed based on toxicity, reactivity, volatility, dispersibility, combustibility, or flammability. EHSs can be added or delisted by either research or by petition to the EPA. Section 304, or the Emergency Release Notification. A facility is required to provide notification of any release to the VERC if the material released is an EHS or a CERCLA hazardous substance and the amount is equal to or greater than the applicable reportable quantity, or RQ. This federal regulation is covered in this section. And currently, about 800 specifically designated and listed Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation, and Liability Act, or CERCLA, hazardous substances are listed. So some exemptions for notification of Section 304. Some exemptions are when releases which result in exposure solely on site, federally permitted releases, continuous releases, releases of certain pesticide products under the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act, or FIFRA, CERCLA exempt releases, which is part of Section 101, radionuclides, naturally occurring or related to coal handling at utility and industrial facilities, and dollar metals, facilities that handle no hazardous chemicals. The notification mechanism for Section 304 is to provide immediate notification for EHSs to local fire departments, the LEPC, and the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, or VDEM, which can be reached at this number. For CERCLA hazardous substances, the notification mechanism is to go to the local fire department, the LEPC, VDEM as well, but also the National Response Center, or NRC, which is operated by the National Guard, and whose number can be found here. The content of a verbal or written initial notification for Section 304 must include the chemical identification or name, and if it is an EHS, the estimated quantity of release, the time and duration of release, medium or media into which the release occurred, known anticipated acute or chronic health risks, and advice on medical attention necessary for exposed individuals, proper precautions/evacuation to take, and the name and contact information of the person or persons to be contacted for more information. The follow-up notification mechanism for Section 304 is a written follow-up notification to the LEPC and state VERC. First is the name of the organization and person contacted during the initial notification, including the time of notification, any update of initial information, actions taken to respond to and contain the release, any known or anticipated acute or chronic health risks associated with the release, and advice regarding medical attention necessary for exposed individuals. Section 311 covers SDS submissions. A facility that stores, uses, or produces chemicals requiring safety data sheets, or SDSs, under the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, hazard and communication standard that equal or exceed the threshold quantity must report. You must submit a copy of SDS for each hazardous chemical, or submit a list of hazardous chemicals for which an SDS is present. Reporting includes an initial submission and periodic update. The initial submission and update should be submitted within 3 months of the receipt of a new hazardous chemical or the chemical exceeding the threshold. Section 312, or Tier 2 reports. A facility is required to submit a Tier 2 report if an SDS hazardous chemical is present at any one time during the reporting year in amounts equal to or greater than the minimum threshold limits. The reporting deadline for Tier 2 is March 1st for the previous calendar year. For example, for reporting year 2022, you must submit by March 1st of 2023. The purpose is to provide state and local officials and the public with specific information on hazardous chemicals present at a facility during the preceding year. For those submitting a Tier 2 report, you need to report to the Virginia Emergency Response Council, or VERC, which is us at the DEQ, the Local Emergency Planning Committee, or LEPC. The LEPC list is listed on our DEQ website Community Right to Know page, and you must also report to the local fire department. EPCRA specific exemptions. There is the FDA exemption, solids and manufactured items, consumer products, laboratory chemicals, agricultural chemicals, and retail gas station in compliance with underground storage tank, or UST regulations, storing gasoline and diesel fuel entirely underground. For more information on that, see this section. So OSHA exemptions are hazardous waste regulated by EPCRA, tobacco or tobacco products, wood or wood products, manufactured items, food, drugs, cosmetics, or alcoholic beverages in a retail establishment which are packaged for sale to the public, food, drugs, or cosmetics intended for personal consumption by employees while in the workplace, consumer products when used in the workplace, or any drugs in solid, final form for direct administration to a patient. Reporting thresholds. For extremely hazardous substances, anything greater than or equal to 500 pounds or the individual chemicals threshold planning quantity, whichever is less at any one time, is necessary to be reported. For hazardous substances, it's anything greater than or equal to 10,000 pounds at any one time. And for de minimis concentration, equal to or less than 1% of weight for hazardous chemicals or 0.1% for EHS carcinogens. Gasoline and diesel thresholds are different for retail gas stations. Again, this section is very specific to them. It's 40 CFR Part 370, Section 10, in case that's cut off for anyone. So Tier 2 reporting goals. So for reporting Tier 2, we can use the Tier 2 Submit software and EPA form number 8700-30. DEQ, we have 3 different options that we generally accept. You can generate an electronic T2S file and email it to the DEQ along with a certification letter, which is our preferred method. The T2S file is gotten through the Tier 2 Submit software. You can generate a PDF, sign and email it to the DEQ, or you can print a hard copy, sign, and mail it to the DEQ. The reporting deadline, again, is March 1st, 2023. Reports need to be submitted on or before March 1st, even if the reporting deadline falls on a weekend. In order to be considered submitted, Tier 2 forms must be postmarked by March 1st. So this is what the Tier 2 Submit software will look like when you open it up. So I will now go through the instructions of how to actually fill out a Tier 2 Submit form. So when you open it up, it'll look like this. It's just starting the Tier 2 Submit software. And you would click the Start Tier 2 Submit and just go through the steps from there, and it'll pop up onto this page. So from here, you'll have 2 options. You can either create a new report or import a previous Tier 2 report and make the necessary updates. First, you'll need to enter the facility location information. Enter the information on the facility and its physical location. The longitude and latitude can now be found using tools under the longitude and latitude boxes. Longitude is always negative for facilities in Virginia. Please don't put positive longitude. It really messes things up. Values can also be found using Google Maps. And if the mailing address is different than physical address, check the box at the bottom of the location tab. So the longitude and latitude tool will automatically populate the longitude latitude fields based off of the physical address. It will also show where your facility is located on the provided map for confirmation. Again, checking the mailing address box at the bottom will add additional fields. To get to this section for the IDs and regulations, scroll down or select ID and regulations at the top. There you can enter the facility's Dun and Bradstreet ID and the NAICS ID. If the facility doesn't have a Dun and Bradstreet ID, just enter NA. If the facility is manned, enter the max number of occupants. If unmanned, enter 0. If your facility is subject to Section 112R of the Clean Air Act or CAA, enter the RMP facility ID using the Add ID function. Facilities that have an EHS present in quantities greater than the threshold are subject to Section 302. To the contact section. To get to this section, scroll down or select contact at the top. Click on Add Contact to add a new contact. 4 types of contacts need to be listed: an owner or operator, a facility emergency coordinator, if applicable for Section 302, a Tier 2 information contact, and 2 emergency contacts. When adding a contact, this screen will pop up after you click on Add Contact. Click on Create New Contact to add a new contact. Click on Select if you already have an existing contact on the list. Note you must click on the contact from the list and then click Select to add your desired contact if you do choose that option. Enter the contact information for your specific contact type. If the contact falls under more than one contact type, select all applicable fields from the drop-down menu. For emergency contacts, a 24-hour phone number is required. Enter a valid email for the contact and ensure that the email is accurate and that it has no typos. So further down the page, you'll be given the option to assign this contact to other facilities if applicable. To do this, click the Add Facility button on the bottom of the page. Once you are done with this contact, click Back to Facility. This will bring you back to the beginning of the contact section, which the screenshot will be listed in the next slide. If additional contacts are required, repeat this process for each contact by clicking Add Contact. Adding a new chemical. To get to this section, scroll up or select Chemicals at the top. Then click Add Chemical. So when adding a new chemical, the entry starts with the physical state and amounts and hazard section. Enter the chemical name, corresponding CAS number, physical state, associated hazards, and health effects. Enter the number of days the chemical is stored on site. Enter the maximum and average daily amounts and/or range codes. Next is the storage location section. To get here, you can scroll down from hazards, or you can click the label that says storage locations at the top of the screen. Add a new location, click Add Storage Location. If the location is confidential, click the box that says Storage Location is confidential before adding a storage location. I've just been notified that it might be hard for some people to see the text on the screen. If it is, you can click Zoom at the top and just zoom in, so that way it's a little bit more it's easier to see the text. So, anyone who needs that. All right. Adding a new chemical, step 3. So describe the exact location of the chemical stored at the facility, enter the maximum amount stored at that specific location, and select the applicable units from the drop-down menu. Select the type of storage from the drop-down menu, and then select the pressure and temperature at which the chemicals are stored from the options in their respective drop-down menus. If the chemical is a mixture, its components should be listed here. To get here, scroll down from Storage Locations or select the Mixture Components label at the top. Click the Add Mixture Component button and enter the max code depending on the amount of chemical stored. Enter the percent weight or percent volume of the component in the mixture, and once you're done with this chemical entry, click the Back to Facility button at the bottom. Once you're done entering your first chemical, your entry will look similar to this screenshot. To add another chemical, click Add Chemical and repeat these steps. The State Fields and Attachments section, to get to this, you scroll down or select Attachments or State Fields at the top. Here is where you can attach your certification letter in the attachment section. Now, we had some problems with this before this year, but they should be releasing the new T2S software within the day. So if you submitted before, it may have problems with that. Please try to send your certification letter as a separate document if you sent it before today. But after today, you should be fine sending the certification letter in T2S itself. In addition, attach any site plans, descriptions of dikes, and in addition, attach any site plans, descriptions of dikes, and other safeguard measures, and/or lists of site coordinate abbreviations. Click Add a File and select the document from the source to add it to your submission. You will not be allowed to create a T2S file until you check Yes to Certification Letter Attached in the State Field section, and you have attached your certification letter in the attachment section. Report certification. To get to this section, scroll down or select certification at the top of the screen. Enter the date the report was signed. The Commonwealth of Virginia has no fees for filing Tier 2 reports. And once the report is certified and complete, click Back to Facilities list. In the submission process, the first step is creating the report, which is what we've just gone through now. The second step is then creating the report file in T2S format, and the third step will then be to submit the report file to the Virginia DEQ, LEPC, and local fire department. Keep in mind that LEPCs and local fire departments have varying instructions for submission. Please contact them directly if you have questions about their submission process. Validation and submission. Tier 2 Submit 2022 validates the report automatically while it is being made. Therefore, if the green check mark shows next to the facility name, that means the report is valid for submission. To create your submission file, select Export or Submit in the top right corner. Once you click Export/Submit, you'll be asked if you would like to create a T2S file to submit to your state, Virginia in this case, or if you would like to create another kind of file. We at the DEQ prefer the T2S or zip file of your report. However, you can create certain other files such as a PDF as needed. If you have multiple facilities, you will be able to select which facilities you would like to include in the file. Once you have selected your desired format, click Make File. Once your File Explorer screen appears, save the file as company name, city, year, and Tier 2 report. Remember, this is for reporting year 2022, so year would be 2022. Once your file has been saved, this message will appear on your screen. To exit this screen, click Close. The DEQ submission options, electronic file submission is our preferred method. Again, we really do prefer the T2S file as it keeps us more accurate. This can be sent as an attachment to our email, va-epcra@deq.virginia.gov. Please also include a signed certification statement. Again, this can be done through the T2S file or can be sent separate. We accept both. You can also do a PDF submission. Again, this can be done through our va-epcra email. Or we also accept hard copy submissions where you mail a hard copy Tier 2 report to our mailing address, which are both listed here. All right, so we've finished with the presentation at this point. Here's my email and email Sanjay. Here's our address again and our phone numbers if you have any other questions. we'll also be answering them. Brian should be answering them as well. So.
Yep. I am going through some questions right now. The one I'm currently trying to answer is just clicked out of it on accident. It was about new chemical, if a new chemical is proprietary information or confidential business information. So in that case, you have to submit a sanitized and an unsanitized copy of your Tier 2 report. There are a sanitized copy is that will withhold any specific information about the chemical other than the hazards. And then the unsanitized is what gets submitted to us that does have all those details. It just doesn't, we are the only ones that keep it here in our records. So that is confidential information that we don't share with anyone. I am going to link the instruction document that EPA has for trade secret chemicals after the message. And then you can visit that link and they'll have a bit more detailed explanation of what you need to do. All right, let's go on to the next one. Just confirming all registered participants will receive a link for a copy of this meeting. Yes, everyone will automatically get a link to the recorded webinar at the end of the webinar. You'll receive it via email. And then, okay, confidential business information. How can you generate a hard copy or PDF submission if a certification letter must be required for the report to be valid? So unfortunately, since it does have to have that certification letter in there, there's no way to really generate the report without one. To generate the PDF submission in general, you would go to, and I don't know if this is something you might want to pull up the sample screen of what the home screen looks like on Tier 2 Submit. There will be a button in the top right corner to export your report. And it will have an option to do a T2S file or another kind of file. You would click the second option, that would be another kind of file, and then different sub options will open up under that. There are a couple different ones, but one of them is PDF, and you would just click that button and click export. Can the certification letter be signed electronically? Yes, it can be signed electronically. Could you go through website navigation to get to the Tier 2 part on the DEQ website? Is that, Nico, is that something that you can do, is share the screen and pull up our website so that people can see what that looks like?
Yeah, let me see if I can do that real quick. Yeah, I'm just seeing which screen is actually being shared at the moment.
You can go to the website first.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Stop.
Let's see, sharing. Oh. Okay, I think if I stop showing this application, then change it to, oh no, here we go. Go ahead. Okay, so I think we're on the DEQ website now. Okay. Right, so what we do is we go land and waste, top, and then we go to community right to know here. We scroll down, and then here on the right is the Tier 2 Submit software. This should take you to the EPA website. And this is where you can download Tier 2 Submit. Once it
And
loads.
while we're here, I did answer another question just in chat, but there has been an issue with people not being able to delete attachments from where they've imported previous reports. Some people have said when you go to click the X to delete the attachment, it says it deleted, but then it still shows up afterward. We unfortunately don't have a time frame on when that issue will be fixed, since this is an EPA based software. We have made them aware that that's an issue, but unfortunately we can't provide an ETA on fixing that issue at the moment.
Actually, I did talk to the EPA. It should be out like sometime today, but
Oh.
EPA not sure exactly when today, and hopefully they're on time with it.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then I also see where some people are asking if the slides themselves will be sent out. I know a copy of the webinar automatically gets sent out afterward. I'm not sure if the presentation itself gets attached. If that isn't something that automatically gets sent out, it should be something that we are able to put on our website after this presentation, and then that will take effect on there when we go to put in the ticket to put it on our website. So that
I
should
think,
be
Brian,
available. Huh?
we're going to post a link to the webinar, and people who have not registered before also can click on the link and then get access the electronic copy of the presentation.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. All right. If a report is uploaded, is any information pulled to the software, or does everything have to be put in manually from last year? So if you have a previous year's report that you've done in Tier 2 Submit, I think it's within the past 2 years. So for this year, it'd be from Tier 2 Submit 2021 or 2020. It should pull all of your information from the previous year into your current report. The only things that it doesn't carry are the signature and the date, because that obviously changes with every submission no matter what. But it should be pulling all, if not, or a majority, if not all of your data into your current submission. And then I see a question about do we need to report diesel exhaust fluid or kerosene? I believe that diesel exhaust fluid, that should be, I think that's a reportable chemical. I know that there's different variations of that, so I guess it depends on what specifically your CAS number is for that, if you have one. It should be, if you have an SDS for it, it should be on there. But I think that varies between each type. And then for kerosene, I think it's the same thing. So just take a look at that. There should be, when you find there should be a whole section about regulatory requirements in the sheet. In there, it will give you the CAS number, so that, or I'm sorry, the CAS number, so that you can look it up online. And there will be there should be a document that tells you whether or not that chemical is reportable under Tier 2 or not, based on whether or not it's hazardous. Generally, any chemical that has an SDS is a hazardous chemical, and so anything above 10,000 pounds will be reportable. The only time that isn't the case is if there's a EHS, which Nico explained earlier, but yeah. For kerosene, I don't think there's any special requirements, but I do think it is a reportable chemical. Are lithium-based batteries required to be accounted for in the Tier 2 report, similar to lead-acid batteries? We've had this question before. I think they, Sanjay, do you know anything about that?
Brian, could you repeat that?
Her question is, are lithium-based batteries required to be accounted for in the tier 2 report similar to lead acid batteries? I want to say they are not required to be accounted for, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, we can check and respond back on that.
Okay. Oh. We have a small correction. The NRC is run by the Coast Guard and not the National Guard. Thank you for that correction. All right. Electronic signature. Brian, you stated that at the beginning you are in a new capacity now. So if we have phone-in questions today, yes, Nick or Nico or Sanjay would be the person that you reach out to in the future about tier 2 or any EPCRA related reporting. Is there a specific verbiage, I don't know why I said verbiage wanted for the certification statement, or is the tier 2 certification found in tier 2 submit adequate? I believe that link in tier 2 submit links to our state template form, the state template for the certification letter. So as long as that's the case, that would be fine. There's no specific verbiage requirement, or there's no specific verbiage requirement for it, but we do have our own template just to make things easier on the regulated end. And that is also available on the website that we visited earlier. And then I see another question about laboratory exemptions. That one, I would send a follow-up email to Nico and or Sanjay after the webinar about that. Since I don't know the answer to that question right at the moment. So that would be something that you could reach out to them for. All right, let's see if there's anything else. Are there any intentions to use ePlan in the upcoming years? That is a good question. I know that we currently so our process for the data here at DEQ, we do import all of our tier 2 reports into tier 2 submit for the entire year. And then once we've received all of them, we export that into our own T2S file, and that gets sent over to ePlan. And then that data is uploaded to there at the end of the year, but I'm not sure if there's any talk of actually using ePlan for our reporting medium. Is it mandatory? Oh, go ahead.
We want to remind is they can use the ePlan to prepare the report, but the report has to still come to DEQ from the facility.
Right. Yes. You can create the report in there and you can export it as I believe in there it'll say like tier 2 submit file or tier 2 zip file when you go to export it. It's fine to create the report in there and just export that file and send it to us. You just can't use ePlan itself to submit. You'd have to email the file to us that's generated from ePlan. Is it mandatory to use the software? It is not mandatory. We do recommend it because obviously it cuts down on processing time, but really another big thing is that the validation reports for tier 2 reports, so that we don't have to reach back out for any deficiencies in information. it makes it so that it automatically checks for you to make sure it has everything that you need to submit. So it does make it easier in that regard, but it is not mandatory. You can still send in a PDF or paper copy of your report. Is the list of LEPCs up to date? I believe we just updated them
Yeah,
a few weeks ago.
we
Go ahead.
updated them just before the new year started, if I remember correctly. And we'll probably be updating them again soon. But yeah, they're up to date as of right now.
Perfect. Can you send lithium battery information to all webinar attendees? I don't know if we can do that, but just reach out to Nico or Sanjay, and I believe there is a EPA, there's a whole separate page that they have, because it is a frequently asked question. There's an information document that if Nico's not able to locate it, I can find that for you, and we can send the response to that with a little bit more specific information. So anyone that wants that, just send an email. All right, I think that's everything for now. Like I just said, if you haven't thought of anything right now and something pops up later, feel free to reach out to either of them and they should be able to answer your questions. Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Can I just email my Fairfax LEPC T2S to DEQ? Yes, you can do that. As long as it's a T2S file, you can email that to us. I know that there's a few counties in the state that have their own tier 2 portal. I believe Henrico, Fairfax, and I believe the Roanoke Valley has their own. You should be able to export from there a T2S file and send that to us via email. That's fine. All right, it looks like we got to the end of our questions. Just reach out to them if you have anything else that you think of at later on, and yes, that's it. Unless there's anything else from Nico or Sanjay that they wanted to add.
No, I don't think there's anything necessarily that needs to be added. Again, our contact information is here. I think you guys can see that. And yeah, please feel free to reach out to me or Sanjay if need be for any questions regarding any of the material.
Just want to mention on a high level, there is guidance from EPA on the lithium-ion batteries. We'll take a look at it and we'll send the link to you because there are some exemptions also on that. So it's not like a yes or no question. So you'll share more information with you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you all for coming out and attending today. I hope it was all informative for you guys.
Our suggestion is if you have regular question that needs immediate attention, please call us. If not, you can send an email to va-epcra@deq.virginia.gov. But if you need a question, if you have a question you need to answer right away, call Nico first, and if they're not, then I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, everybody. I will go ahead and close the webinar. I will say that the recording will be sent out tomorrow automatically to both those people that enrolled and were unable to attend today, and also for everybody that was on today. You will receive that tomorrow. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and close the webinar. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.